As you think about investing people's money, how does this yen move affect your decisions?
Well, it just basically, I think, underpins our view that we're probably right now, after the big rally off the lows, more in a risk-off mode than risk-on mode. And, of course, the yen typically rallies when there's more in the way of risk aversion than risk appetite. At the same time, I think it again reaffirms our view that the dollar bull market is well behind us. It reflects largely, not exclusively, to what we saw in the FOMC minutes yesterday and Janet Yellen last week, that the Fed is going to be lower for longer. That means that the U.S. dollar is probably going to be soft against most currencies, including the yen. That should actually be positive news for the basic materials complex, commodities, one of the reasons why we've turned more bullish on the Canadian dollar lately. But it also means, from an investment standpoint, is that the search for yield is going to be extended for quite a while longer with the Fed on hold almost semi-permanently here.
David, that old quote, don't fight the Fed, the FX market quite clearly fighting dollar yen and the Bank of Japan. Is that wise?
Well, I think that, it's easy to say that, that the Bank of Japan's policies aren't working. But again, you can't look at currencies in a vacuum. It's a pair trade. It's been some time since the BOJ, invoked its negative rate policy. Of course, the yen firmed even on the back of that. But other things are happening in other countries. You just had, despite the fact we had a decent payroll number in the U.S., manufacturing was down almost 30,000. The factory work week was down. So the industrial sector in the United States is still reeling under the lagged impact of the super strong U.S. dollar. And so you take a look what's happening in the Eurozone. I mean, Germany just printed an incredibly soft factory orders numbers the other day. The Eurozone economy is slowing down precipitously once again. And you've got these Brexit concerns that are accelerating and what that means for the EU project in general. So you can't take a look at the yen in isolation of the BOJ and in isolation of the Japanese economy, because other things are happening in the rest of the world that are precipitating these flows back into the yen right now.
So which central bank is next to move then, David, do you think?
Well, I think the next central bank to move is probably going to be the Bank of Japan. I don't think they're going to go further into negative interest rates, because that's no better, as we're seeing with the experiment, throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks and doesn't stick. So they'll probably go deeper into their asset purchase program. But I think that when you take a look at what the Japanese policymakers are now saying about the yen, that they're monitoring it very carefully, it's clearly moving now into uncomfortable terrain for them. So I think the BOJ is probably the next central bank to move. Outside of that, we just saw the RBI in India cut interest rates. They have their policy rate at 6.25. Inflation's coming down, so that's another central bank that has lots of room to ease policy going forward.
So I want to come back and talk about the U.S. Fed for a moment and the extent to which really they are looking to international factors. We actually heard from one of the members of the FOMC yesterday, Mr. Bullard. Let's play that for you. Listen to it and please react.
I have not